And that was a great game, and we'll certainly update you here as we cross the timeline. And time to focus now on the TVC-Ohio division, where there are a couple teams rising from the ashes and taking the league by storm. Taking a look at the current standings, which have been updated through action on Thursday, almost every team in the league has shown signs of brilliance. And the Athens Bulldogs and first-year head coach Jeff Skinner have found a winning formula and have already 3 league W's over league giants Alexander and Vinton County. But right on their heels are the Nelsonville-York Buckeyes. The Buckeyes have already matched their win total from last year, and it's only mid-January, so we're going to welcome Maddie Kuhn to the desk. And Maddie, this team seems like the team is better than even the record shows. How have they been able to keep in the hunt for the TVC title?
Well, success for them has been found under the basket. They've got confidence down there thanks to residential big man Connor Bunting, who's been practicing down there for the past couple of years. And while they aren't very imposing when it comes to their size, they're not afraid to battle. They take down players like 6'5" senior Reggie Sims from Belpre. A couple days ago, they played well against him. And they're also very athletic and can battle for rebounds. Michael Mitchell is an outstanding player to watch. He's phenomenal to just see play. And also Coach Klein, he ensures that they play to their strengths. They don't have Michael Barrick anymore, who was their three-point specialist last year, so they really got to dig down deep. And many of their offensive plays feature bounce passes to Connor Bunting while another player is running baseline opposite of that play. They also have an interchangeable front court, and they put them to work. Daniel Klein and Michael Mitchell are guards who are both over 6 feet, and they're driving to the basket regularly. So Rob, that's basically how they've been able to put it together.
I mean, they're a bunch of Boeing jets out there. They're so big. I mean, I wouldn't want to go play with them at any time of point. But we covered 2 more teams in the TVC, Athens and Alexander. For more on both those teams, we're going to say hello to Aaron Laviola again and Blake Brody. And we're going to start with you, Aaron. How has Athens been able, or how has, for both teams, they've got players who can really light the fire for their teams. Aaron, we'll start with you. Who are those players, and what do they do to the teams?
Well, Rob, for Athens, you always hear about Corey Butcher, Colin Pfaff, and Frank Valentour. But to be honest with you, they win games because it's a collective effort. Those 3 have really managed to instill a sense of calm in all of the players. They always keep their composure and they never get frazzled. And I remember I was at the Athens-Alexander game actually, and one name that popped up a lot was Zach Bobo. What do you think of him?
Well, for Alexander, Zach Bobo is the marquee name for the team. He is their senior leader by far, and he's also one of the few Spartans who saw valuable minutes last year, and it really shows on the court because he's a very smart player. But he's also a matchup nightmare for teams, Aaron, because he can shoot the 3 as well as anybody on the team. But if the defense accounts for that and guards him too close, he has the ability to beat you off the dribble and create shots in the lane. He's also a very clutch player. He is the guy the Spartans will go to down the stretch in the close and late game, and you can expect a lot of those in the TVC-Ohio.
Yeah, like I told you earlier, at that Athens-Alexander game back on December 18th, Coach Skinner told me after the game, yeah, we let Zach Bobo get away from us a few times. He got some points on us. Every other team knows to look out for him.
Yeah, he's a guy you have to game plan for when you're playing against Alexander because he is their go-to guy.
Absolutely. All right, Rob, that's back to you.
And I mean, everybody in the TVC seems like they're in the hunt, so if you're a TVC-Ohio fan, be sure to keep checking back with us. And if some is good, more is better. So why not get back in the gym for some mid-range jumpers? This time, focusing on the Ohio division, our reporters will get their usual 15 seconds to get up, use their legs, and follow through on some questions I pass their way. And we're going to start with you again, Maddie, with the Nelsonville-York Buckeyes. The entire team seems to do it as a unit, but is there an under-the-radar player that you've identified?
There absolutely is, and his name is Jared Dexter, whom I like to call the Dex Factor. He's over 6 feet tall. He's only a junior, and he got key rebounds and made key putback shots against Belpre to keep the game close for them. So he's their under-the-radar player, Rob.
Absolutely, and then we're going to talk now with Aaron Laviola. And speaking of players who do it all, Colin Pfaff just seems to dominate kids. And what does Colin Pfaff do for the Bulldogs, Aaron?
He's their leader, plain and simple. He controls the pace of that game completely. And I mentioned our game of the week on Tuesday against Logan. At one point, Coach Skinner was trying to tell him a play to call out. He actually yelled back, "No, Coach, I'm running something else." And Skinner let it go. You wouldn't expect it out of him. He's 5'9". He is small, really. But you know what? He's able to drive in and draw players to him. He's very, very unselfish.
I mean, Colin Pfaff, I saw him in firsthand. He is the real deal, and it seems like these shots are starting to go in. So let's work on our transition game a little bit in a segment we like to call Fast Break. One team who knows how to run the floor is Alexander, and we're going to actually talk now with Blake Brody. And Blake, I mean, what can we expect? What can we expect at the conclusion of the season for Alexander as you kind of get on your soapbox right now?
Yeah, Rob, for Alexander this year, they've kind of taken everybody on a roller coaster ride. They shot out of the gates to a 4-0 record, beating teams by over 17 points a game and really opening the eyes of teams all across the TVC-Ohio. But they began to struggle toward the tail end of non-conference play, and it carried into their conference openers with Athens and Nelsonville-York. But when you look ahead to the rest of their schedule, they do have the marquee games, the tough games at home, and that's a big advantage. You always want to play your late conference games at home. That's a big advantage for the Spartans. But what I really like about Alexander is their guard play. They feature the best backcourt in the conference, in my opinion, with Wes Meadows, Zach Bobo, who we mentioned earlier, and a very talented junior in Cody Lawson. If they can get an emergence of their front court, this could be a team that not only wins the conference this year, but can make a deep playoff run. Now, I realize we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves talking that far, but Rob, look for Alexander to be a contender the rest of the way, man.
Hey, I mean, if you're talking about Alexander, you can never look too far down the road for the playoffs. But at the conclusion of every week, we at Hardwood Heroes like to select a hero of the week from the TVC. But rather than focusing on the limited scope of best statistical player or best player all around, our hero of the week embodies what it means to be larger than life to their team. And take about Corey Butcher from Athens. You're playing at Logan, where he had 25 points, shooting 10 of 14 from the field. He sunk 2 deep three-pointers, almost NBA range, and added 4 assists. And his 2 steals, though, the key stat in overtime was really his 2 steals that put it out of reach. One of them was an and one, and the other was just nasty sick. And he's a versatile player. He's a three-point lockdown threat, a lockdown defender. And Coach Jeff Skinner definitely should be pleased with the play of Corey Butcher. But Aaron, we've identified Colin Pfaff and Frank Valentor, and pretty much everybody in the TVC has thought that those 2 players are stars. But are you ready to add Corey Butcher to that list?
Absolutely. He's very consistent in his shooting. He takes very smart shots. He's a very quiet player, and all of a sudden these shots start draining. And like, who is this kid? Where did this kid come from? And like we said, those steals at the end of the Logan game were crucial. Put them up by 2, and they ended up going on to win it.
All right, well, we'll certainly look for more from Corey Butcher, but that's going to do it for us from Studio A. But Hardwood Heroes isn't done just yet. Visit our website at woub.org/heroes for the most extensive TVC coverage around. Game repass with video highlights, feature content, scores and schedules, and much more will be available to you there. We'll be back next week for the latest in TVC Hoops action, but in next time, be heroic.